So shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's consider this O x1, x2, x3 axis. This is the old set of axes. Now we have obtained a new set of axes by rotating it with respect to x2 axis. So we are keeping the x2 axis same, and we are rotating actually the x1 and x3 plane in anti-clockwise direction by the angle 45 degree. Okay. Now if a vector in this axis, a vector is given, whatever the set of axis, a vector is v vector is given, and v vector is expressed as e1 cap plus e2 cap plus e3 cap with respect to all set of axes. So here actually the v1, if you see, v1 is equal to v2 is equal to v3 is equal to 1. So this is the given condition. Now we have to determine v1 prime, v2 prime and v3 prime. Okay. So we have to obtain the value of v1 prime, v2 prime and v3 prime. Okay. As we know that the relation for this is a v dash is equal to transformation matrix a v. Okay. So how do we do that? So first we have to find, because this v1, v2, v3 are given to you, we have to first know that what is the value of a matrix, and then we can easily do it. So before going to the cosines, we must know that what is the angle. So best way, make a table and first write what is the angle between the different axes. x1, x2, x3 we are having. Then we are having x1 dash, x2 dash, x3 dash. Angle between x1 dash and x1 is how much? It is pi by 4 because it is rotated by the 45 degree angle. Angle between x1 dash and x2. Angle between x1 dash and x2. Yes. Can anyone give the answer?
Pi by 4 plus pi by 2.
X1 dash and x2. Think about it.
Pi by 2.
It's pi by 2 because it is perpendicular. So actually, with respect to, we are keeping the x2 same, and we are rotating the x1, x3 plane. So the perpendicularity condition we are not changing. So angle between these two will be pi by 2, and then the angle between x1 dash and x3, this is x1 dash, where it is, and x3 with respect to this angle. This angle is pi by 4 plus pi by 2. Similarly, we can write this x2 dash and x1 as pi by 2. This is 0 because x2, we have not changed its direction. X2 and x2 dash are the same place. So this is 0, and then we are having this as pi by 2. This will be, you will have pi by 2 minus pi by 4, and this pi by 2, and this is pi by 4. So this is what the angles between the new set of coordinate system and old set of coordinate system. So x1 dash to x1, x2, x3, and so on. So then we can formulate our matrix A, and A matrix you will get cosine of all these, you will get 1 by root 2, 0, minus 1 by root 2, then 0, 1, 0, 1 by root 2, 0, 1 by root 2. So this is what the transformation matrix we obtained.
Sir, can you please explain these angles again? Because I'm not able to visualize how x1 dash is rotated by this angle, but in which plane is it rotated?
Okay, fine. See, we have x1, x2, x3 coordinate system. Okay,
Okay.
this is
Yes.
all set of coordinate system. Now you have kept x2. You put your hand. Yeah, you are holding the x2 axis in your hand, and you
Okay.
are rotating x1, x3 plane anti-clockwise. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
actually you are just moving a plane, rotating a plane,
Okay.
and that's why you are not disturbing the perpendicularity between x2 and x and other axis.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear now? So
Yes, sir.
and
Okay.
you have rotated it by pi by 4. So if it is so, so the angle between x, because we cannot show in this diagram. I think that's why you get confused.
Yes, it will be clear, sir. I understood.
Now I hope it is clear. So that's why this angle is pi by 4. Already we have rotated it. Angle between x1 dash, this, and x2 is pi by 2, because we x1 and x1 dash and x3 dash are in the plane formed by x1 and x3 itself. So that plane we have not changed here. So that's why this
Yes.
angle is pi by 2. Similarly, the
Okay.
x1 and x3 pi by 4 plus pi by 2, and so on. So by knowing the angle, we have determined what is the transformation matrix, and using this transformation matrix, finally we will have v1 dash, v2 dash, v3 dash. These are the component of the same vector. V in new set of axis is 1 by root 2, 0, minus 1 by root 2, 0, 1, 0, 1 by root 2, 0, 1 by root 2. And here we are having v1, v2, v3, that is 1, 1, and 1. And eventually you will get the result as 0, 1, and root 2. So you can check that. Here it is. So this is what the way how we are determining the component of the vector in new set of axis. So also you can, by using this, you can write now in terms of this prime one, the same vector. So the component of vector will get changed if we are transforming the axis, but vector is not going to change. Vector will be the same. We are representing the same vector in two different coordinate system. Okay. Now let's determine the determinant of this vector. And tell me, what is the determinant of this vector? See, yeah, check what is the determinant of this vector. Anyone, can you tell me that?
It's 1.
Yeah, it's 1. Fine. Just remember, for now we have calculated determinant and we obtain it is equal to 1. I will tell you the further concept of this. Now let's consider the new set of axes, and we have to find the component of a tensor. Okay, and the tensor is, let's say, the 2, 6, 4, 0, 8, here 0, 4, 2, and 0. So let's say this is the component of a second order tensor with respect to the coordinate system OX1, X2, and X3. Okay. Now we have to find the component of the same tensor in new set of axes in a prime one, that is OX1 prime, X2 prime, and X3 prime. How do we determine that? So for that, if you remember, just we have established the relation. We have to use the formula A, that is transformation matrix, multiply with the given tensor, multiply with A transpose will give you the result. And here you will do, since we have this transformation matrix 1 by root 2, 0, minus 1 by root 2, 0, 1, 0, 1 by root 2, 0, 1 by root 2, then multiply with the given second order tensor 2, 6, 4, 0, 8, 0, 4, 2, 0, and this will multiply with the transpose of transformation matrix. So this is 0, 1 by root 2, 0, 1, 0, minus 1 by root 2, 0, 1 by root 2. When you will do this matrix multiplication, you can use MATLAB or Scilab also, and then you will get minus 3, 4 by root 2, 1, 0, 8, 0, 1, 8 on root 2, 5. So this is what the result you will get. So these are the, again, the component of the given second order tensor, but these components are with respect to the primed axis. Okay, new set of axis that has been rotated by 45-degree angle, what just we have described. Okay, so this is the way how by using simply this formula we can find the component of given vector or given tensor in a new set of axis, or in old set of axis, reverse of that also we can do that. So again, I am saying that in order to fulfill the criteria of a tensor or a vector, this transformation rule must be satisfied. If the physical quantity is not satisfying this transformation rule, then we cannot say this as a tensor or a first order tensor vector. So this is the mathematical definition of second order of a tensor quantity. Okay. So do you have any question? I think it is very simple to do. Only the formulation part is little bit tricky, but now it is very simple. Do you have any question? No question. Okay. So if you have seen that when you determined the determinant of given transformation matrix, then you find it is equal to 1. Okay. Now we will see another case. So in case 1, you obtained, what you have done, you hold the x2 axis and then you rotate it x1 x3 plane by 45-degree angle, where x3 and x1 get rotated by 45-degree angle, and you determine. So this is what the rotation of the axis. Now we will do reflection of the axis. So in the first case, what we have discussed, that is rotation. Okay, rotation of, we have rotated the axis. Now, and we have seen here you obtain determinant of this is equal to 1. Okay, it should be absolute value of determinant of transformation matrix should be equal to 1. And let's say case 2, here we will see the condition of reflection. Reflection means just a mirror image. So let's consider the axis. Here we are having x1, this is x2, this is x3. Now new set of axis is, we are keeping the x2 and x3 plane as a mirror and finding the mirror image. So let's say this is x1 prime and this x2 prime and x3 prime are the same. Okay, so this new set of axis O x1 prime, x2 prime, x3 prime are just a reflex we have obtained by doing the reflection, where we have considered the x2 and x3 as a mirror, and we are finding the mirror image of x1 axis in that. So this is what the new set of axes we have obtained. Now let's find the transformation matrix, and for that let's write the angle between the two set of axes. So if you see, the angle is here pi x1 x1 prime and x1, angle is pi x1 and x2, x1 prime and x2, it is pi by 2. This is pi by 2. Similarly, x2 prime and x1, it is pi by 2. x2 prime and x2, it is 0. x2 prime with x3, it's pi by 2. x3 prime and x3, it is 0. No, sorry, x3 prime and x3 prime and x1, it is pi by 2. x3 prime with x2, it is pi by 2, and x3 prime with x3, it is 0. So this is what the table showing the angles between this. And now let's say the transformation matrix, the cosine of this, we will get -1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. Now let's determine the determinant of A here, and tell me what is the value of this.
-1.
-1.
-1. Okay.
Yes.
So you got the determinant as -1. So one thing we observed, that if we are rotating, then you are getting determinant 1. If you are doing reflection, you are getting determinant -1. So whenever the transformation, and we can also have the combination of both. Whenever we are doing the transformation by rotating the axis, and whenever you will have the determinant is equal to 1, so this is known as proper orthogonal transformation. Proper orthogonal transformation. Okay. When determinant is equal to -1, then this condition is known as improper orthogonal transformation. Okay. So determinant
do this all kind of transformation or the combination of transformation lie between -1 and 1? Is it so?
you check it, its absolute value should be 1.
And the combinations of transformation, I mean that sometime we are doing reflection, sometimes
Should it not be 1? Then how we will satisfy the orthogonality condition?
okay.
We can check it. Okay, it's better to see various combination and try to find out whether we can we say it in the general form or not. I think it is. Okay, we can.
Yes,
Okay, now what is the use of this proper orthogonal transformation, improper orthogonal transformation? So that we have to understand. So if any vector, if you are able to write Vij, just we have formulated the relation Vij, Vj, and Vj is equal to Vji, Vj dash. This relation what we have established. If whatever the transformation matrix, whether it is plus, whether it is minus, determinant of this, it does not depend on this, then this vector is known as true vector. True vector. Okay. Now another is if Vi dash is equal to determinant of A times Aij Vj, and Vj is equal to determinant of A times Aj Vj dash. So here we have multiplied with the determinant. So what actually getting we are getting that when we are doing the rotation, we are getting determinant 1. Another case, the proper orthogonal transformation, we got determinant is equal to 1. An improper transformation, we got determinant is equal to -1. So actually the vector depend on that whether it is improper or proper, the sign of vector get changed in this case. So this type of vector is known as pseudo vector. I hope you have heard this word pseudo vector. And what is the example of this? Okay, so let's consider a mirror, and you are observing something is moving and with velocity v, or applying the force v. In the mirror image, you will get the same, the direction will be the same. Okay, but just consider another quantity, let's say the moment, or any quantity which is represented as a cross b, and a cross b is showing what? If you are having a, you are having b, then a cross b is showing the direction you will get the perpendicular to this by rotating a using the right hand thumb rule towards b, and in the mirror image you will get opposite. So this is why generally it is defined as all the torque what is r cross f, or moment, or angular momentum we are having, that is L r cross p. These quantity are angular momentum, and another thing, let's say angular velocity also. So in a reflection, its direction will get changed, and that's why this minus term will come. These are also termed as pseudo vector because it does not satisfy the transformation rule what we have established. So this is, though it follows all this vector addition and everything, but in transformation rule it fails, and this is the reason it is also termed as the pseudo vector. The pseudo term is being used. Remaining operations we can do using the vector algebra. Okay. So any questions so far?
So, sir, in case
Yes.
of while body is accelerating, so
Yes.
we have read about the pseudo forces. So that pseudo force is actually pseudo vector.
So whenever you have the not accelerating, when you
Same.
have the circular motion.
Okay, yes. Sir.
Circular motion, if you see that in a mirror image, direction will be opposite, isn't it?
Okay. Yes.
So here the direction, let's say if you remember the concept of electromagnetic induction, the out to the plane, or here inside to the plane. So in this side you are observing the direction out to the plane, out of the plane, and in the mirror image you will find the inside to the plane when you are analyzing this object, this quantity. So
you said opposite actually.
yeah, direction will become opposite. Here actually you see a cross b is giving out to the plane, and in mirror image it will give you idea that into the plane, isn't it? So that is why actually this determinant is doing what? This plus or minus, it is changing the direction of the v, and whenever this is the case, it actually not satisfying the transformation rule, though it is satisfying all the criteria of the vector addition, subtraction, everything we can do using the vector algebra, but when we are coming to the transformation rule, it fails, and because of that the pseudo term is being used for these quantity. Okay.
So these pseudo vectors actually we feel.
Yeah. It's just a mathematical definition.
Okay.
It's in context of transformation rule, isn't it? So this is a vector, this is not a pseudo, actually this is a physical quantity, this is not a pseudo thing, but actually here it does not satisfy the transformation rule, and that is why the pseudo word is used. In this criteria it fails, the criteria to define it as a vector or define it as a vector. Okay.
Yes,
is it clear to everyone? Any question? If you have, then please ask.
Sir, in case of cross product of two vector in a physical phenomena,
Yes.
so the cross product is always gives the pseudo vector. What you are
Pseudo-vector.
saying?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
the angular velocity is also one kind of pseudo vector. Torque,
Yes.
moment, angular momentum. Then we have magnetic field, magnetic dipole
Yes.
moment. All these are the pseudo
So
vector.
it is
Wherever
the vector denotation of two cross product of two
cross
vector.
product of two vector, because it is giving idea of plane,
Yes. Yes.
and it finally in mirror image reflection it will become opposite to that. So it is all these the quantity defined by the cross product of two vector is actually the pseudo vector.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, couldn't this explanation actually for the pseudo vector, if I do the cross of yesterday's query?
Linear acceleration is not pseudo vector.
Okay, okay. But sir,
Angular
I will do the
linear
cross of,
acceleration will be not pseudo vector.
sir, if I will do the cross of two tensors, which I was asking you yesterday, so
Yeah.
that has no physical significance. So couldn't we explain that thing by this concept?
In pseudo vector, pseudo tensor.
Pseudo tensors like that. But there does exist any pseudo tensor, but we can say or find out this thing.
If do we have some this kind of physical quantity or not, that we have to figure out. Mathematically we can have, but in as a physical quantity, do we have such physical quantity? Whether it exists or not, that we have to, because angular momentum and all we have, we know that,
Okay.
isn't it?
Yes.
So mathematically we can say, okay, if it is not satisfying, then it is pseudo tensor. But what quantity will comes under the pseudo tensor category, that we have to
you have to investigate it.
whether it is there or not, whether it is exist or not.
Okay.
If you have question, then please ask. I will answer your question. Otherwise, I will stop today, and tomorrow and day after tomorrow we will have discussion on stress at a point, and we will see the various properties and the various operations being done on stress. Also, we will discuss that why strain is a tensor. How do we prove that strain is a tensor? Proving stress is a tensor, I think we have shown it as a geometrical representation, that okay, it is acting on the plane, it is acting on this plane towards this direction. So we are saying that okay, it requires higher order than vector, so it is a stress. A stress is a tensor, second order tensor. But how do we prove that strain is also a tensor? So all these concepts we will learn in next two classes. Okay. Also the derivative and all this part we will see in the further classes. Okay. So shall I stop now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.